not. We've got the message right, and we've thought deeply about getting the message right. And so if these people are turning and they're ready to move, and they're thinking about all the decisions that they need to make in order to reach the nations, while, of course, facing all kinds of just the daily pressures of family and where money goes and these kinds of things. David, you've written and spoken a great deal about the kinds of decisions that we need to make in terms of sacrifice in order to meet the nations, on a personal level and on a church level as well. But you've gotten quite a bit of resistance over the past, well, since Radicals come out. You've spoken a lot of places, and they give you a hard time wherever you go. Looking back on what you've said and what you continue to say, would you write Radical, that chapter 6, differently? Would you, or does the resistance really cause you just to be more concerned about this issue and thinking about the types of sacrifices, financial or otherwise, that we need to make in order to reach the nations?
Thanks for bringing up resistance. I look back, I'm not sure what exactly I would write different. There's always so much more I would like to add. Chapter 6 on money. And I've had numerous conversations with men at these tables about that. I think what I want to emphasize, obviously, is that it is the message, the gospel, that drives this picture. I want to be zealous for the sake of the souls of the people I pastor when it comes to materialism. In 1 Timothy 6, when it says the desire for riches plunges one into destruction, I want them to see that their possessions and their pursuit of money can be dangerous and even damning. I want to show that with a sharp edge, so to speak, which I think the word brings about. At the same time, I don't want to promote any kind of guilt-induced obedience or guilt-induced action, that people would see, okay, yes, Christ is enough for me, that He is a supreme reward, and stuff is not bad in and of itself, but I, in my heart, am prone to hold on to stuff and to excuse love for money and to justify love for money. And so there's certainly things along the way that and I'm hoping even second book to mature, to shepherd some of that picture. But I think we need to look at the materialism of our hearts very seriously and very pointedly. And I think those conversations need to drive us to Christ and to the supremacy of Christ in our hearts, and then how we can use the resources He's given us for His name's sake among the nations. So
that's good. Dr. Piper, you've written on a wartime lifestyle. There's a lot of overlap here, and even don't waste your life thinking about things like retirement and any thoughts on how should we think about these things in a way that's honoring to Christ?
Yeah, I'm glad he wrote chapter 6. I don't think I'd change anything. I mean, there's more to be written, more to be said. You can't talk on this without getting in trouble. If you aim not to displease people in your church, you won't talk about money, period. So forget that, trying to please people. I think the reason this goes down well for me is because talking about money in connection with missions is the key, and in connection with the joy of a life well invested for a great cause. Money per se and giving up things per se is boring. It's just boring. But if you want to talk about money and lifestyle, the reason I like wartime instead of simplicity is that you can live simple and go to hell and help a lot of people go with you. Just, sell everything, move to northern Idaho, plant potatoes, and eat organic food and go to hell. That's not helping anybody. But if you say wartime means they stopped basketball games to look for bobby pins in the 40s because metal was precious. And the Queen Mary, Ralph Winter's favorite illustration, when it was a luxury liner, had 3 people in a room, and when it was a wartime liner, had guys stacked up, 12 high on each side of the room. And tin plates with a spoon instead of a place setting with 10 pieces of silverware, because in wartime you make changes about resources, and therefore we need to convince our people we are in a war right now vastly more dangerous than the Second World War. The outcomes are everlasting. We lose millions. We don't just lose 500,000. And so putting money stuff in the context of missions, and in the context of a big global war, and in the context of a life well lived and joyfully invested for others, I think gives it its biblical point and keeps it from being legalistic, keeps it from being small. And I don't have an easy way to talk about the biblical truths of God has given us everything for our enjoyment. 1 Timothy 6. I just know that the world is perishing. We have resources. All Americans are rich, and we could all live more wartime than we do. And God does not want us to feel guilty for having a full stomach after breakfast. And I just invite you to get on board with the wholeness of biblical teachings. I'm just way too skeptical of guys who get on David's case because they think they've got this figured out. And I listen to them, and they don't have this figured out. They don't. They are simply, some of them, going towards the easy route because we're Americans, we have lots of money, we want to justify our big houses, big cars, our second houses, our third cars, our endless vacations, our endless accoutrements that we surround ourselves with, and say, but I'm working for Jesus. And I think they probably let them hear all that Jesus has to say about this. Collect all the commandments, like I did one. I just worked all the way through Jesus, everything he said about money, and then stack up the ones that are positive. Oh, money's a wonderful thing, and over here all the warnings, and see what it does to you.
That's good.